Well, thank you, everybody, coming out. Obviously, I was a little delayed myself. Brett's living a good life. We got the car right behind us got hit, so we were in a good position. Already navigating things that we haven't seen, right? So super excited. Got 3 good practices in this past week. Really kind of the first 2 practices were a little bit about Illinois. Worked in the Tennessee prep yesterday. We'll take the weekend off here, and then we got 3 good practices in before we leave to Nashville, and then 3 more down there. So we'll get about 10 practices total that get us in a good position. Similar to what we did a year ago, we're playing a day earlier, but because of the schedule and the way it lays out, kind of we're able to kind of just blueprint from our plans last year for the bowl game. So a couple things of note. Obviously, Gabe got announced yesterday. Kind of knew that in postseason, if we weren't in the playoffs, that there were going to be a couple of guys with those decisions. J.C. Davis as well will not be with us. Those guys moved on to their NFL opportunities. Wish them the best luck. Obviously, 2 very, very talented players, great guys in our program. Gabe, kind of a unique story because he's probably truly one of the first guys that I ever truly found on our own from a recruiting standpoint. Recruited him. Brought him in, didn't play. Didn't redshirt. Had immediate impact and go forward. JC, the kind of the new world of college football with the transfer guy that came in. We thought for 1 year, got a waiver for the second year, and obviously a huge impact on our success this past year. Another guy that won't be with us for the bowl game, and kind of a process in mind. Matt Bailey, we knew during the course of the year was going to have postseason injury surgery, so he had surgery, I believe, the Tuesday after our last game, and went well, but unfortunately, obviously won't be with us for the bowl game. We turned in some of his. The NFL allows us to turn in some grades on early guys, so we send his reports in, and obviously he's in a process to gather as much information to make a decision about the future. But other than that, we should be pretty much full strength for us, offense, defense, special teams, and go forward from there. With that, I'll open up for questions.
Will Gabe and JC be with you at the bowl?
Will Gabe and JC be with it? Gabe was in my office yesterday. He did say that he was going to be there, but JC I have not had that conversation with. But those 2 guys for sure. And I know I talked to Matt yesterday as well. I think his intention is to join us, but that's not decided yet.
Coach, with those opt-outs and Matt's situation, an opportunity for some other guys to step into those spots. Have you given some thought on who's going to backfill those positions?
Yeah, obviously, Gabe, very productive player, but Joe Barno, I think, would kind of assume that immediate role, but it'll be by committee. We have several outside linebackers that have gotten a lot of reps during the course of the year, and then obviously JC has manned that left tackle spot, so we can do a couple different things, but Nathan Kanapik was a guy that took the majority of the reps yesterday, but it's still a little bit of work in progress. And then Matt Bailey, there's been a couple times this year where he's been out, and so it's kind of been a little bit of Miles can move around a little bit, but also obviously Mac Rasedich, Sabor Kareem, and Ben Clausen, who was able to join us the last two games, who hadn't been there previously to that, is a guy that will factor in that as well.
Brett, is Aiden Kanavik available for the game, and what have you seen from both those brothers?
Yeah, Aiden would, but Nathan will be working over at the left side. Aiden's been battling through a little bit. He had knee surgery before the year started, was back for our last 4 games. Still kind of, I think, in recovery mode from a little bit of that, but both those guys have done a nice job. I think there's some other guys that have really benefited during our bye weeks. These first two practices, we kind of concentrated on twos, threes. So some of the younger players, also Brandon Hansen, could factor into that mode as well.
Yes, one guy that will be with you in the game is Luke. I mean, he made that announcement yesterday. Just how impactful is that for maybe one more time?
Yeah, I never really asked Luke. I think he just I assumed he was going to go, just knowing who he is, how he is. But obviously went through a decision process. I think to play the SEC is probably a good thing for us as well. But Luke's done so many positive things. I think this is just a final, dot the I across the T thing for him in his career here. Obviously, a guy that's going to have a long opportunity ahead of him in the NFL. But to play one last game as well as he played a year ago in that bowl game. And I think these seniors in general, Miles and Tanner, can attest that when they get up here. But these guys started a journey a long time ago. Not just this year, but Miles has been with us the whole time. Luke 3 years, and Tanner as well. So those guys have done a lot of really good things in this program, and I think this is just one of those moments where we can all get together. I do talk to our players, when they start the season back in January, at the beginning of this year, just about this journey that we're on. Don't know really how it's going to end, except for we have 12 guaranteed opportunities. If you do well in those 12, you get another one, and this is it.
Bret, you mentioned Matthew Bailey, one of your NFL draft prospects. Like, what is the feedback you're hearing from him from the NFL, and what do you think he's shown those?
Yeah, well, Matt's a very talented player. We actually sat down before the year ever started, and I kind of said, hey, at some point, I believe that if you continue to do what you've done in the past, this year we'll probably have a decision to make at the end. The NFL allows us to put 5 players on an advanced list that allows them to get kind of evaluated at a different level. So Matt was obviously one of those 5 guys. So as soon as the season was over, we have to fill out a form, turn it in. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for that to get back. Luke went through it a year ago. I think our guys last year were Luke, Melvin Priestley, Xavier Scott was on that one. Gabe Ackus was on that one. So it allowed us to get those pre-draft grades back. And this year, obviously, Matt's really the only guy that's in true contention to the possibility of going out. So it's really just kind of wait and see. He's been obviously awesome on the field. He's an awesome kid off the field. He's done well in everything he's done, whether it be academics in the community, leadership. I thought this year especially, was a guy that took a huge step in leading not only his room but our defense, and especially during the moments of adversity. So super excited about his future.
Bret, in preparing for Tennessee, they had at least one prominent opt-out, and of course they're going to have a different defensive coordinator. How does that impact getting ready for a bowl game?
It's all part of it. We've gotten word on 2 or 3 guys I think that we feel are going to, I think there's a linebacker and for sure wide receiver that have mentioned it or said it, but I think there's some others as we're going. I don't think they've really done a formal press conference or release, so we're just kind of preparing for everybody that we know is going to be there. Bill Inge, the new defense coordinator, he and I were actually locker mates at the University of Iowa. One of my good friends I've known since he's 18 years old. So not many times you get to go up against a guy that you used to share the practice field with, the game day locker room, and a lot of other good times. And he's been a coach for a long time. He and I have been crossing paths for a long time, so it's kind of a cool opportunity for him. I really don't know a lot of their coaches. Know several coaches just from being, in the business and recruiting trail. But I think Billy and obviously Willie Martinez too, the DB coach, has called plays before. So I'm assuming there's some type of combo platter coming at us from that side.
What stood out to you maybe about the way that Matt Bailey finished the year, knowing that he had surgery coming and he had the club on his hand most games?
Yeah, it was actually something from prior to even this year. We just knew that it was going to be something that as it came up, we probably this year we're not going to have as near as many. I believe last year we had 7 postseason shoulder surgeries, and this year there's obviously been 1 already, and the possibility of a couple more. But I think it's just a testament to Matt. I know he did a lot. I think Chase, our trainer, had done a lot of really good proactive strengthening and rehab, getting his body in the right position to go through the year. Really didn't have very many issues during the course of the year. There was a point where I knew he was going to have to make this decision. That's why we opted to do that, or he opted to do that. Was as soon as we could after the surgery. So whether it's in the NFL or if it's in college football with us, he at least is going to have a shoulder done quickly and get back on the road to recovery.
Coach, big picture wise, do you have any thoughts on what the future holds for the non-college football playoff bowl games, and why is it important that those games are available for teams like yours?
Yeah, I know everybody wants to, have a input on what these are. I would tell you, my mom and dad for forever, as many bowl games as I've been a part of as a coach or as even as a head coach, they always go back and remember the bowl games that they shared with me and my teammates when we were in college, right? Like even we're at the Rose Bowl as a head coach, he'd ask my mom and dad their favorite memory, and it was probably the Holiday Bowl in 1990 or something like that. It was just kind of crazy to me that they would always go back to that, and I see that now with our players, with our student athletes and their parents. You build those memories, those opportunities. It is a different world. I was talking to a coach that was on Penn State staff 2 years ago, right? And he and I had grown up in the business together, and he was talking about one week they played a home game at Penn State. then went on the road, and I think they played in what would be the Fiesta Bowl, and then they go to play in the Orange Bowl, in in a matter of a month of one season. Like, you would have done anything to play in any one of those bowls, and they played in 2 of them in back-to-back opportunities. It's just, I think the alignment and the structure is probably going to have to change, and there has been a lot of bowl games. Maybe that would shorten down instead of as many as they have. Maybe it shortens down to the top 20 or something along that lines. But it's still such a great opportunity for us. We're going to get 10 great practices. Obviously, our ones and twos will get a lot of good reps on one-on-ones. But to know, for me, the value of having some of these threes and these developmental guys that have gotten very few reps. Like, we were able to go through a couple practices last week where we were working with guys we haven't really been able to work with. Even during the bye weeks, you still concentrate on certain things. So the opportunity to get better in this postseason play is really, really huge.
Brett, you're prepping for the bowl game, but I know you're prepping for the portal to open up in a couple weeks. How are you guys doing that, and what do you need to accomplish once that happens?
So we've barely, been doing it. I don't know. Literally, as soon as the season started a year ago, there's so many venues now and ways that we are notified that, hey, this player might be interested. So I always say our roster is comprised really of 3 key components, right? Retention, removal, and acquisition. And retention is what I'm going through right now. I think I've met with 68 of our players, 68 players from our roster. Got about another 30 left. That I'll get with next week. That's a big part of retention. Obviously, you guys have seen some of the guys, even though the portal doesn't open until January 2nd. There's a couple guys that have removed themselves already and won't be with us. I probably have another 6 to 10 guys that have expressed to me that they're probably going to be in the portal after the bowl game. I want them to play, and they're going to play. So there's that window. We did that with several guys last year. I think if you started this season and you want to play, that's obviously a decision that you can make. And as long as we mutually agree to it, that'll be there. I do know that, for most part, all the guys that are moving on from us, nobody's a starter. We have one guy that's a starter, but kind of an unusual situation. But, it's a decision he makes and what he wants to do. But I think that for the most part, that's the part that's really difficult right now is kids want to get in. They can't get in. They're going in. They can't say it. In the flip side of it, there's kids that, have now been part of coaching transitions, and the rule has changed 3 times within this season. Like, it's just, I'm sure they're lost. I'm lost. Like, if somebody reached out to me, I'm like, wait a minute, who is this kid? Where's he at? And what can we do? Actually, my staff right now is, we were prepping for Tennessee till about 10 o'clock. We met as a staff at 11, and they flipped gears, and now every position that we plan on taking someone through the portal, those coaches are meeting, ranking, and prioritizing players that we feel are going to be available. So it's really an unprecedented world. We'll play the game on the 30th and come back, and then literally I know we have an official visit right now set for the 2nd of a player that we know is coming into our building that's going to be on our campus the night of the 1st and join us on the 2nd. So it's happening as we speak, and it's uncharted waters.
Anything else? That's good.
All right, thank you.